So today I want to share with you on the subject of forgiving what you cannot forget. Because I know many of us have said, well, I've forgiven them, but you know as well as I do that you still haven't forgotten. You forgave them, you know you forgave them, but you still remember. And it's very blasé that some people say, well, you just have to forgive and forget. And I told you that last week. I struggle when people tell me things like this. I wanted you to know the first lesson is that every relationship is not always reconciled, and you can't rush restoration. Every relationship that you have a breakup from is not always reconciled, and you can't rush restoration. After some offenses, relationships do not get reconciled. I'll say one more time. After some offenses, some relationships do not get reconciled. And you know how true that is. You that have been divorced from a bad marriage, it's not reconciled. In fact, it'd be all I could do to make you go back and speak to them again. Sometimes hurt can be so damaging. It can be so hurtful. It can go so deep in your relationship that it cannot be restored. Sometimes things don't go back to the way they were. And we can be blasé about it. Oh, just forget it. You better understand what I'm going through. You better know the kind of pain that I've had before you start being blasé about everything's fine. Because we'll see how it is when the boot's on the other foot. Because we get the misguided conception that forgiveness is automatically means reconciliation. And that's the confusion that we have. We think because we've forgiven someone that automatically now we're reconciled. That may not be so. There's nowhere in Scripture, nowhere, if you can find it, please help me. There's nowhere in Scripture that God equates forgiveness with being restored into the relationship you were in. Nowhere. But we've been telling people that as a church, you see, if you make friends, you're supposed to be together again. If you are forgiving him, then you're supposed to be doing things together again. Nowhere in Scripture gives us a biblical definitions of forgiveness. We just told people, just forgive them. And it's not so easy to do when you've been hurt down to your core. And it's hard to forgive sometimes when you are still bleeding on the inside. Come on, somebody, here with me. And this is why no one has ever answered the question that you was with somebody years ago that did something and it's still in your mind today. You smell a certain smell, you hear a certain sound, you hear a certain music play, and it takes you right back to that pain. I don't know what you've been taught. I'm telling you what I found from Scripture. I am well within my Christian right that if you've hurt me so deeply, I don't have to sit and play games with you anymore. And that's the problem with us too often. We play games. We know we haven't forgiven, but we sit there and we burn. We take bread and wine and we burn. I know this is hard to take, but we do. Never forgiven the brother, never forgiven the sister, still got it burning inside you, still take bread and wine. So we know we got some work to do. Just because it looks like it should work out, it doesn't mean that it has to work out. Forgiveness can be granted, but restoration can be denied. Now,